for the most part, those opportunities do come along in our career if we kind of have the proverbial nose to the grindstone when it comes to adding value in everything we do. If you would have asked me during my early career, was I likely to be entrepreneurial? I think there was a hard no. It just wasn't.
Really?
And I started as a CPA working for the largest professional services firm in the world at the time. So that's about as risk limiting as one can get from a career perspective, and kind of fell into the entrepreneurial thing just by really going to a company that we started with some outside support that just started to fail. And when it was failing, I was in a position where it was either step out, and that was kind of the height of the dot-com boom, and it was either step out and move into one of the tech companies that I had the opportunity to move to, or say, I really have a passion for healthcare and healthcare service, and I'm just going to take a crack at this. And so it was interesting, just passing the 20-year anniversary of 9/11, I became CEO of Smile Brands, its predecessor entity, back in 2000, and
Wow.
pretty shortly thereafter got to navigate out of bankruptcy and then into or near bankruptcy and then into the first real crisis that I'd ever seen when it came to the 9/11 the events. And I think again, so looking back, and we live it forward, we look back. Looking back, I always had entrepreneurial, quote unquote, kind of jobs, whether that was mowing lawns or shoveling sidewalks or paper routes for probably 8 or 9 years. And back then it was kind of an interesting experience because, you actually bought the papers from, in my case, the Denver Post. You bought the papers, you took AR risk, inventory risk, AR risk, you collected at the end of the month, and then you added it all up and go, oh, so it was a very interesting time. But, I think those were interesting lessons. And, my dad was always very active in business and was pretty good about talking about that. And so I feel like I was gravitating in that direction. Is always something of interest to me. But if you would have asked me, can I come up with an idea to start a company? No chance. I had no idea of any way to start a company or what I would do it in or anything like that. So that was never really in the cards. But I'm a big believer that we all get presented with opportunities in our lives. And I think the lucky ones might get, on order of magnitude, 10 or 20% more opportunities, and the unlucky ones get less. But for the most part, those opportunities do come along in our career if we, kind of have the proverbial nose to the grindstone when it comes to adding value in everything we do. And so, I missed on a few earlier in my career, and then this one presented, and I kind of was at a place where I just said, I'm just going to go for it. And so did, and the rest, is kind of a part of the history of the story, but it really was that right time for me to make the leap, take on a little incremental risk, try it. No, it would be okay if it didn't happen. You learn a tremendous amount by trying and failing, no doubt. And so, I felt the freedom to do that and jumped in, but definitely, would not have said prior to that day in 2000 where I made the leap that I would have been entrepreneurial.